Dentistry and General Radio Network presents
the Independent Dental Practice Podcast with Dr. Sonny Spera.
This episode is sponsored by DocSites, the trusted website and marketing company for dental practices. DocSites builds personalized, affordable websites with no long-term contracts. Visit DocSites.com and use code POD25 to receive a $75 Amazon gift card on booking a demo. We'd also like to thank our next sponsor, All Practice Solutions, your trusted source for CBCTs, sensors, dental chairs, and other dental equipment. Use code POD25 for a free handheld X-ray generator with any CBCT or purchases over $5,000. Text ROD at 630-440-0600.
In this episode,
I knew a guy one time who wanted to go digital way back in like 2000 or something. And he wanted to do digital radiography, and his staff was opposed to it. So he went and he bought a sensor package and some laptops. And then he went to the office on Saturday and he threw the processor in the dumpster. And when he came back, or when they all came in on Monday, he had the laptops and the sensors, and he was like, we're all taking digital x-rays now, like it or not. And they all quit. So what did that prove? We're all in this together. Get the buy-in. Treat your people the way they deserve to be treated. Treat your patients nice. We all work for the patient. Those are the people that pay us. And you got to do your best for them. And you always got to remember, at the end of the day, it's all about them.
Dr. John Flucke, The Truth About Dental Technology, What's Hot and What's Not. A discussion with Dr. Sonny Spera.
Welcome to the Independent Dental Practice Podcast. Dr. Sonny Spera today. My guest and good friend, Dr. John Fluke or Fluke. How do you pronounce it preferably?
It's Fluke, Sonny,
Fluke.
But that's okay because everybody murders it. You don't grow up with that name without having it like mispronounced and misspelled. So,
well, that's what Al used to say. Fluke's coming. And I was like, I thought it was a little nickname, cutie. But anyway.
oh yeah.
I first saw Dr. John Fluke. I saw him at the Yankee dental meeting, and he talked about innovations and things that make your life better. And he talked about apps on your phone. He talked about a bunch of things. And I remember, and this is how legit he is, right? I got home and I was like, you know what? Something I don't get. I sent him a message. He responded immediately. And I still didn't figure out the app, but I did at least communicate and get some more information that was personal. So, you know, like so many people speak, and especially big time people like John that have a huge bandwidth and following and cover a lot of area. Sometimes they're big time yet, right? But that's not the case. And this is a good down to earth, homegrown dentist. Love everything about him. You're going to love him too. So let me give you some background because we just did this. Now I got to find out where I put it. Here it is. Let me give you a little background. Dr. John Fluke is in private practice in Lee's Summit, Missouri, where he spends 2 days per week in direct patient care. Served as chief dental editor of the technology editor for Dental Products Report, a magazine where he wrote, edited, and created video test drives of products and featured in the technology Evangelist columns. So he's all about tech and how it helps us in our daily lives, especially as dentists.
Absolutely.
Of the most popular dental blogs on the internet, Ramblings of Dentistry's Technology Evangelist, features daily updates on tech in healthcare and tech in general. The site has over 3 million page views. Lectures extensively on all aspects of clinical dentistry as well as technology in dentistry at every major dental meeting in the USA. He uses technology in every aspect of his practice and personal life, pushing him to constantly be on the leading edge. He loves testing and breaking the latest gear he can get his hands on. He lives his life by the motto, you can't buy too many toys, or you can't have too many toys, excuse me.
Either way.
He consults manufacturers. My dad's favorite saying is, he who dies with the most toys wins, by the way.
Yeah.
He consults with manufacturers, helping development techniques, technology, and products, and things from the duct tape and zip tie stage all the way through to the completed item. His passion is technology that improves patient outcomes and is always working to create or help create products and techniques that allow patients a better quality of life. Provides expert witness testimony in dental litigation. He's a past president of the Greater Kansas City Dental Society, as well as served as a Missouri State peer-reviewed chairman for over 20 years. God bless you for that, man. Thank you and
Thank
welcome
you.
to the show. How you
Yeah,
doing?
no, thanks for having me. I thought my mom did a good job on the bio.
She did.
So,
She did well. She checked. She got crossed the T's, dotted the I's, was very good. So what you up to?
oh, geez, it's been crazy. I just got back from an event. We ran into each other at the event, the VIP KOL Boot Camp Summit over the weekend, and that was fun. Spending a lot of time nowadays tinkering with aspects of digital dentistry and artificial intelligence. That's really been where I've spent a lot of my time the last, I don't know, like 12, 18 months.
Yeah.
But then, you got to factor in all the other. I'm working in the office 2 days a week and I'm doing lots of other stuff. I gotta keep a marriage together. I'm still trying to, support the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sleep much, Sonny, but when I do,
Yeah.
I sleep well. So
No need to rush. No need to sleep too much, right?
I get that.
Too
I
much
get
is
that.
good.
Well, you're running 5 practices for crying out loud. You're probably busier than I am. I just got to push buttons. You got to like manage people.
One arm paper hanger, baby. That's what you got to do. So that's like a Midwest saying, isn't it? He's busier than a one
It
arm.
is. My wife and I, a couple of weeks, well, it was a couple of months ago, we watched 9 to 5, that 80s movie.
Oh yeah, Dolly Parton, Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a part in there where she said something about I'm busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest.
That's
I,
good. That's a new
I
one.
thought that was better than the one-armed paper hanger. It was even better coming out of Dolly's mouth,
Yeah,
she
that's a
had
new
the
one.
accent.
I might have to borrow that one.
There you go.
All
There you go.
right.
It is a
So
Midwest expression, though.
so talk about, I know you went to dental school with our famous good friend Dr. Howard Ferran.
Yep.
Tell us
Yep.
how did and why did you get into dentistry? Let's hit that first.
Okay. So I have always wanted to be a dentist. So my origin story is when I was 3 years old, I've got a sister who's 6 years older than I am. And I was 3 and she was 9. She had a loose primary molar. And we were eating breakfast one Saturday morning, and mom and dad, my sister and I are sitting around the table, and she's trying to eat and she keeps complaining, "Ow, ow, my tooth hurts." And my sister's real squeamish, always has been to this day. And so this thing was just hanging in there, wobbling around, and she was complaining about it. And I remember my mom and dad were like, "Just pull it," and she was like crying, "I can't do it. I don't want to do it." So we got done with breakfast, and I thought I'd be a hero. So we had a little bathroom right off of the kitchen in our house, and we went in there, and I put the lid down the toilet, had her sit, and I got the little step stool that all little kids have to reach stuff. And I washed my hands and I stepped up on the step stool and I was like, "Which one is it?" And she was like, "It's this one." And I reached in and I went, and it came right out. And I was so proud of myself. I went in, I still remember before dishwashers, my mom was washing the breakfast dishes. And I walked in and I said, "Mom, look." And I held my hand up. And I still remember the look of like abject terror on my mother's face. I got blood all over my hand. And she's like, "What happened?" And I said, "It's Connie's tooth. I'm going to be a dentist someday." And I have no idea why I said that, but it was dentistry after that. It's like everybody that knew me from like kindergarten on knew I was going to be a dentist. So,
Did anybody discourage you?
no,
Really?
no,
Everybody discouraged me. Everybody.
really, no. People, I mean, there weren't people going, "You got to do this," but everybody was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's cool. You know what you want to do," or, whatever. I asked my mom one time, I remember it was probably upper grade school. And I asked her, I said, "What if I don't be a dentist?" And my mom was my biggest fan. And she said, "I don't care if you dig ditches for a living, as long as you love it and you're the best at it you can be."
Hmm.
But no, nobody discouraged me, but people discouraged you.
Oh
How
yeah.
come? What'd they say?
Oh, they were like, "Oh, you'll change your mind. Don't worry, you'll change your mind." Everybody, my high school guidance counselor, my high school
Wow.
coach, everybody I ran into. And I think in retrospect, I think it was actually there was one person who did not. That was my seventh grade social studies teacher, Mr. Dan Council, who said to the class, I want to see what you guys invite me to your 20-year high school reunion. I want to see what you guys become. And I walked to him up to him after class. I'm going to be a dentist. And he was like, good for you. That was it. Everybody else told me you're going to change your mind. Don't worry about it. That's nice. It's a passing fancy. Move on,
Right.
including my college health sciences professions.
Oh, you're kidding
Oh
me.
yeah. She was like, yeah, 1 in 3 ain't going to make it. You don't look like you're going to make
Wow.
it. So
Yeah.
I really do think that was the motivation to say, you know what? I'll show you, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. I have one story like that when I was in college. I was taking organic chemistry,
Yeah.
and the guy who was teaching it that semester, I mean, everybody, when I told people I was taking organic and they heard who it was, they were like, oh, good Lord, not that guy. Oh my gosh, he's awful. Anyway, so I was really struggling. And I had learned that, most professors, if you go to their office, make an appointment, and you tell them, like, I really want to do well, what do I have to do? They'll help you.
Right.
They'll tell you what to study or whatever. And so I went in and I told him, I was like, my goal my entire life has been to be a dentist, and I got to have organic chemistry and I got to do well. So what can I do to do well? Because I'm really struggling. I'll never forget, the guy leaned back, put his hands behind his head and said, well, kids, some people aren't cut out for professional school. And yeah, that was motivating, but that was that was the only one I had. And
Did you?
I promptly went out and dropped the class and then took it the next semester from a different instructor and
Yeah.
did fine.
So did your mom and dad help you at least with the billing for your sister? Did they at least help you to help you
No,
to
no,
charge?
that was a donated dental service. Unfortunately, I
Listen,
should have gotten at
you're
least
gonna
like a
take her
tooth
treat
fairy
for
fee.
lunch. All this week you're getting
Yeah,
double desserts, double devil
yeah.
dog
I was like,
pancakes.
hey, I put it under my pillow. I get a quarter. Can I at least get that? But no, I got cut off on that one, unfortunately.
So you get to dental school, right? You're living your dream, right?
Yep.
As you've defined it, right? So you're living your own truth, right?
Yeah.
Talk about in dental school. Is there any change of heart, change of mind? Tell me about, does it solidify your passion for going into dentistry? Does it
So
challenge it?
real quick, I don't know, quite honestly, Sonny, this is good because I've been talking about myself for decades. I don't know if I've ever told this story or not. So, and it's funny because it's October 16th when we're recording this. On October 14th, 1983, my first semester in dental
Not
school.
that you remember the date or anything, but go ahead.
Yeah, not that I remember the date. I had a near fatal car crash.
Oh Lord.
Um, and is the only time in my life I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And I don't remember the day. I remember like flashes, like literally seconds here, seconds there. But I didn't have my seatbelt on. I don't know why, because I always wore my seatbelt.
Hmm.
But I went through the windshield, and I broke my mandible in two places. I broke my left shoulder. I broke a bunch of ribs. Seriously, by all intents, I should have died, but I didn't. And so I'm in the hospital. I was in the hospital. I was in intensive care for like 4 days and in a regular room for 3 days. And sometime that week, when I was in the normal bed, one of my buddies, a lot of my friends from dental school, and I mean, it was amazing. Some people came to see me because we'd only known each other for like 6 or 8 weeks. But one of my buddies who I did know from undergrad, we had taken a couple of classes together, and we weren't by any means real tight, but he was one of my closer friends when I started dental school. And he came to me and he said, what's your plan? And I said, I'm going to take the year off. My mom and dad had already like, oh, you can't go back. You've got to. So I said, I'm going to take a year off. And guy's name is Dr. Dan Levitt. He's a retired endodontist now. And Dan looked at me and he was like, no, you do that. You take a year off. You're going to get comfortable. You'll never go back. So you go back and I'm going to help you. And the guys in kind of our guy friend group in school, they're all going to help you. They're all on board. We're going to get you through it, but you're going back. So I was released from the hospital on Saturday, and I went back to school that Monday. And The hard part about it was the head trauma. I had this massive concussion, and literally you could hand me something to read back then and say, read this page. I could read it just fine. And if you took it away from me and said, give me what was the point of it? I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember a thing from that. And I dealt with that for about a year. And
Wow.
so, yeah, my buddies stuck with me. They tutored me, and I got through it. But it was hard. It was hard. It was the best thing I ever did. I think he's
So
right. I
that
think I might have
really,
quit. I'd have stopped
but
probably.
that cemented you're where you belong.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Otherwise, why do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the hard that makes it great, right?
Yeah, people, I mean,
Somebody told that to me
it's
once.
the truth, right? It's the thing that people don't see. They see the surface. They don't
Yep.
understand all the trips and problems. Like we had an office flooded twice,
Oh
you know,
gosh.
like the challenges that you overcome to just get along on your path.
Yep.
No path to success for anybody's been straight. But
No.
you do find those are defining moments. You find out where the rubber meets the road and you find out what you're made of, right?
Hmm.
For you to be able to pass a year of first year of dental school, which is like taking a drink of water from a fire hose, everybody knows it,
Yep.
and not having the memory recollection and having to pass all those exams
Yep.
that you get slammed with is pretty incredible. Probably as your brain comes back to you the second, you're probably like, oh, this shit's easy. I can remember it.
Well, I do want to say Dr. Dan Levitt, Dr. Lendell Shell, Dr. Tom Moore, Dr. Ron Claiborne, guys I graduated with, they were the ones that got me through it.
Yeah,
I mean, they hung with me, they tutored me, they flashcarded me. I mean, they did not flash me, but I was
that wouldn't help.
amazed. Yeah. It was just amazing to me that these guys who I didn't know that well. I mean, what had I ever done for them? Nothing. That they took me under their wings and they propped me up and marched me forward.
Yeah,
And it was hard on me, but they were given to me. They were spending extra time with me. And I remember they all kept going, no, this helps me because it's helping me remember it. Explain it to you is making it, and I was
right.
like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, the fact that they gave to me like that was incredible. I've never forgotten that.
There is something to be said for that, though. That's how we learned anatomy, right? Show one,
Yep.
do one, teach one, and we had to. Well, our section, we were groups D, I believe, and the other groups were A, B, and C, and then you learned a certain part, and then you taught everybody else, and that did help a lot of things, and that just carried over in how we learned. But I look back, and my friends from dental school are some of my best friends to this day, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
still have, we unfortunately talk a lot during Bills games too, because we're avid Bills fans because we went to school in
Right.
Buffalo, but been miserable the last couple of weeks. But anyway, another story. All right, so talk about tech. When did you start getting into tech? Did this event push you into tech?
Now, the event didn't push me into tech. I've always been a tinkerer. When I was a kid, well, like late junior high, high school, it was cars. I had buddies that, had Chevelles and Camaros back in the day, and we would change manifolds and put new carburetors on. And I just
Camshaft.
loved,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I got into dentistry, I was paper based for 3 years. And then I bought a computer system. And this is kind of a funny story, but it's true. So my dad had a friend he was a great guy, but he wasn't the sharpest pencil in the box. And my dad and his friend and I were eating breakfast one morning, and the guy said something about, yeah, I just put more memory in my computer. And I was like, what? How did you do that? He goes, he said, I bought this magazine. I kind of looked some stuff. It wasn't that hard. So I thought, well, geez, if this guy can do that. So I started taking the computer apart in my office and like changing parts out and putting stuff back together. And then I bought an intraoral camera that was on a cart. and it connected
AccuCam.
to
AccuCam?
no, it was the Reveal from
Okay.
Welch
Oh,
Allen.
Welch Allen revealed that was
Yeah.
that. You could almost plug and play those things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That thing, and it was $15,500.
Yeah.
But I figured out, I went to Radio Shack and I bought a bunch of parts because it connected to a printer.
Time for a quick sponsor break. Back in 30 seconds. This episode is sponsored by DocSites, the trusted website and marketing company for dental practices. DocSites builds personalized, affordable websites with no long-term contracts. Visit docsites.com and use code POD25 to receive a $75 Amazon gift card on booking a demo. We'd also like to thank our next sponsor, Dentist Job Connect, the premier platform that connects practice owners with top associate dentists. Make hiring and job hunting simple and effective. Visit dentistjobconnect.com and use code POD25 for $500 off the Elite Practice Package.
Otherwise, it didn't work.
Printer.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had a big monitor on the cart and stuff. And I figured out a hardware hack that allowed me to connect that to a computer, and you could actually save the photos digitally.
So what you basically did was created an HDMI cord.
Yeah, I did.
Or a USB cable
Yeah, it
or
really
something,
was.
right?
Yeah, it was like the thing I finally put together was like that long. You know, it was all these different odds and ends that you had to put together. But that's what started it.
Yeah.
And I just
Cool.
kept tinkering, and parts would come in and I'd tinker. And then somebody one day, a friend of mine, had a little newsletter that he would print on his office copier, fold by hand, staple, and mail to people. And he asked me if I'd write an article on this whole video hack thing that I created. And I was like, all right, I don't know. And this is the amazing part. That newsletter ended up on somebody's desk at the ADA. And one day I get a phone call from the American Dental Association, and I'm thinking I'm in trouble,
Right,
you know,
right.
or I
What did I do
didn't
wrong?
pay my
Yeah.
dues, or I don't know, something. And this guy says, yeah, tell me about this computer thing. So I was kind of telling him, and he was like, would you like to come and teach that at the American Dental Association annual session? And I was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I guess. Okay. So
So
I
now you're
went
speaking.
from,
Yeah.
yeah. And that just kind of snowballed into other stuff. And then
So you
companies,
became that guy. You were identified as that guy,
yeah,
right?
all through dumb luck.
Through your passion, though. That was your passion. You just said it.
No,
right?
it
You
was my
loved
passion. It
doing that.
absolutely was.
And now you're getting
So,
recognized for it. And then you make this, I don't want to say it's a separate career, but a separate sideline.
yeah,
Pretty
which is
cool.
great because I get to tinker with stuff. I get to see stuff. I get to give input. I get to break stuff. The bio isn't kidding. I've broken a lot of stuff that was prototypes.
I had
But-
I had a Hitachi camera.
Okay.
So I didn't get the AccuCam and I didn't get the Reveal, but I got Hitachi, and it had to have a printer on the cart. And
Right.
I said the same thing. So did my dad, who's an IBMer, right? He's like, it's got to be a way for this. And then I think the push was that just kills too much storage. You're not going to have enough storage to save images, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And we were
Right.
fully digital with the Schick X-ray system, really early adopters with that, you know. So I was like, why can't we do this? And lo and behold, then after that, we went to a different camera system that was directly plugged into the computer, and
Right.
So yeah.
Well, and that was kind of the cool thing is, when in the 90s, we had what I call the innovation phase, where we had the cameras and the x-rays. And then when computers finally became affordable enough that you could put a computer in the operatory.
Yeah.
And then that's when what I call the integration phase happened. And suddenly everything plugged into the computer, and it became like the center, the hub of the wheel. And you just had these spokes. And, that was the most amazing thing. The one thing I'd say to younger doctors is my dad was a corpsman in the Navy. So he had like 2 years of training in healthcare, but he wasn't a dentist. And he went with me to the demo for that Reveal intraoral camera. And it was through Patterson. Patterson had a big event at a hotel in a big ballroom. And I went to the thing. It's funny because I was going to a Royals game with my dad, and the hotel was like on our way. So we were driving, and I said, Dad, I got to go to this thing. I promised promised the sales guy I'd go look at this camera thing. So we got off the highway and we went. And when we got back in the car after looking at the reveal, my dad was like just on fire. And he was like, when are you going to buy that thing? I was like, Dad, it's $15,500. I started from scratch.
Mhm.
And I was like, I can't afford 15.5. And my dad told me a great piece of advice. He said, look, you go to like seminars and they show you big pictures of teeth, and you look at magazines and you see big pictures of teeth. And he said, I've never seen the inside of my own mouth before. And this is important. If you show people what their problems are and then explain to them how you can fix them, better informed people make better decisions about their healthcare.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you what, truer words were never said. So
Yeah,
I bought the camera, and yeah, being
they
able to
become
show
partners
and
in their own
communicate
care.
visually. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's hop into it now, man. So
Okay.
talk about, you started talking AI, and I mean, I see it all over the place. Right? Everything's
Mhm.
got AI and AI chips, and my daughter's boyfriend has a company that's got some AI basis in it, and he's trying to get going and stuff like that using artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the things that you see on the landscape right now
Okay.
that you think dentists should take very seriously implementing in their practice, and then, of course, why.
So, quick little back bit about this. I saw AI radiographic interpretation in, I think, 2015.
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago too. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
It was a little startup, couple of guys. The company itself was in India. These guys were from India. They were young guys, and they had a laptop, and they showed me, basically similar to what we're using today.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, that's cool. And so I started working with them. They weren't available yet. We were testing, and it was kludgy. I mean, I had to take x-rays in my office, export them into JPEGs, take the JPEGs, upload them to their website,
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
the algorithm run, and I did that for like 3 or 4 months, and I was offering advice and opinions on different things. But then one day they called me and they were like, I think it was a Wednesday, and they're like, yeah, I just wanted to let you know that the site's going to go offline on Friday. And I was like, okay, I figured upgrade. When you got, how long is it going to be down? And the guy's like, it's not coming back. We're out of money and nobody will fund us. And at that point, I was like, what do you mean it's not coming back? Because in the like 3 months that I've been working with it, even though it was kludgy and it took a lot of my time, I depended on it. And then you jump forward to February 2023, ChatGPT is announced, and suddenly you couldn't go to a website or turn on the TV news and not hear artificial intelligence. And I think some people get the perception that, oh, this is something new. It's something kind of maybe not, the new stuff always has bugs. This has been around a long time. AI has been in development since 98 or 2001 or something like that. And by the time the ChatGPT announcement came out, we were using Pearl in my office already. And that is a game changer between the fact of having somebody just tell you, did you look real close here? Because anybody that says, I look at bite wings every day for a living and I've never missed something, they're either a liar or they got a dog in a cane, because we all miss things. And having that to help me, but then being able to put that on the screen and show the patient, you see that pink spot? This is what the AI algorithm is identifying as an area of concern. So you can see this white line is the enamel. You can even bring up and colorize the enamel. So that piece of it is huge. Every office should be using radiographic AI right now. They've gotten good at finding periapical lesions. A lot of doctors don't realize that the x-rays we look at have got a ton of pixels in them. And that's all shades of gray. Human eye, I was a psych major in undergrad. So the human eye sees between like 50 and 105 shades of gray. Computers see the pixels, each individual little dot on the screen. So they see it better than we do. They see it faster than we do. You as the doctor make the decision, but
Does it?
it will see stuff that you don't see.
So we see between, what you say, between 50 and 100 shades of gray. Doesn't the
Mhm.
computer see like 1200 shades of gray or something like that? Some ridiculous.
Computers can actually see, it's depending on the sensor, it's depending on the chip.
Yeah.
So I think most of the chips see about, I want to say it's like 8,000 shades of gray or something like that. And if you spend more money and get like a really high-end X-ray sensor, it goes like way up. But even the low ends show like exponentially more gray than we can even figure out. And that's why, like, okay, so I use EagleSoft, not an endorsement, but I use EagleSoft. I'm going to speak about that. There's a drop down in their radiographic area that it's called Clarify. And you
Yes.
hit it, and basically what Clarify does is Clarify sucks some of the gray out.
It's sharp.
And really what it does is it dumbs it down so that, my eyes can see it better.
Yeah.
But the AI algorithms don't need that because they're seeing every pixel. So it can see stuff, it can see breakdowns better than you can. Periapical lesions are huge. I've seen studies done where they've taken a number 8 round burr and like drilled into cadaver mandibles and taken x-rays. And you've got to be about halfway through the mandible with a number 8 round burr before you see a dark spot on the x-ray. So a lot of that stuff, people come in with pain or other problems. There could be something developing. You won't see it. The AI will see it and it'll outline it for you. And, being able to see that and then use your brain to figure out, okay, they're having spontaneous pain. It's sensitive to hot and cold. If I tap on it, it hurts. And now look, there's this area right at the apex. I mean, that kind of stuff is critical for you to make better decisions.
Well, I think just take it right down to simple interproximal cavities, right? Like, according to the latest, Gordon Christensen talks about 50% of all interproximal decay is missed on X-ray.
Yeah.
So
I can believe
if that's
that.
the case, and this is something that helps you, you're providing a better service, a better level of service for your patients. And
Yeah.
I mean, we can debate it all day long because there's a lot of people now that are not doing cavities that are through enamel, that are indent, and we're doing all kinds of other things. But
Right.
the point is, you better identify it and you better have an idea that it's not, I don't believe in the heal thyself method. So I'm a little different there. I think it needs treatment and you'd fix it, But anyway, all right. So we're talking AI as it applies to radiographic interpretation. What are some other products that you like out there? What are some other, I don't know, handhelds or you name it? What are some other technology things?
I will say on the AI space before we leave that, there's a company out there called Trust AI, and their first product they built is an LLM, a large language model like ChatGPT for dentists. And right now, everybody can access it for free. If you just go to Google, search Trust AI or Trust Dental, you'll find it. It's been trained by dentists and specialists and the literature. So you can basically, it's kind of funny because the bot has a name, they call him Isaac. And Isaac is trained on dentistry. So you can ask Isaac any question. You can ask Isaac like treatment sequences, or you can say, I've got a patient with, these problems, and it'll tell you, consider this diagnosis.
Diagnosis, sure.
Yeah. You can tell it, I've got a patient, with a periapical abscess and they're penicillin allergic and they're diabetic. What's the best antibiotic? And it'll give you this one at this dosage. So that's really going to change things. And that aspect of it, they're working on other things, and I've signed an agreement with them, so I can't divulge what they're working on, but they're working on some really incredible things of pulling a lot of AI into dentistry. One of the other things I think that AI is going to do for us, and for years I've been saying that we're going to see the continually updating 3D patient. And I think that integrating artificial intelligence in that is going to make a huge difference. So what I envision is that a patient will come into an office and you'll take, a lot of people are taking cone beams now just as part of the patient intake process. So you take a cone beam at low resolution, low radiation dosage, and then also as part of the new patient part, you will then scan them with an intraoral scanner. And that information is going to be merged into that cone beam so that your iOS, that STL file is going to get merged into the CBCT so that you can actually see the scan as it appears. And every time the patient comes in for an exam, we do another scan, it updates. And you do an extraction, whatever it is, you do a crown, it's going to take that information and update it. So we'll be able to see the patient as they exist in 3D from today to every time you've made a change back through their history. And that's going to be amazing too. We're going to see AI charting where a patient's going to come in, you take the radiographs, and it's going to do the majority of marking the restorations for you. So it's going to speed up that intake process. And then you look at like scheduling and finding slots in your schedule and being able to say, Dr. Spera, you've got an hour and a half appointment on Friday. Mrs. Jones needs a crown. It's been diagnosed for over a year. She hasn't used any of her insurance benefits for the year. Somebody should probably reach out to her, or I can reach out to her for you if you want me to, and just fill that slot. That's where this is all going. And it's going to be amazing. One of the other cool things that I think is neat from a diagnostic standpoint is using digital devices for caries diagnosis. And there's a few of those out there. There's the Spectra from Air Techniques. I can't think of the name of it. Acteon has one, but they deal with fluorescence of the bacteria in the tooth, and it'll actually find living bacteria are located in this area of the tooth. Maybe the enamel hasn't broken down enough to the point that you get an explorer stick, but it's down through the enamel into the dentin and it's expanding. We all know that enamel is harder than dentin. It's like a shotgun blast. When the caries drops through into the dentin, it spreads out. And these kind of devices will find that before you can with an explorer. And those are great tools. Cavo has come out with a device called the Diagnicam Vision, and it incorporates transillumination, caries fluorescence, and an intraoral camera into one device. And you can put this device over a tooth, click a button, and get it in transillumination, get an intraoral photo of it, and get a fluorescence photo of it all within a second. It's just like bang, bang. And you can scan every tooth in the mouth with that thing in about 2 minutes and basically see everything you need. It's every imaging that doesn't require radiation in dentistry. And that's a phenomenal tool too. I'm really
you need to supplement, because the point of the x-rays missing. You need to supplement. If you're going to be thorough, you have to supplement your diagnostic criteria or your diagnostic tools. You need a bigger toolbox.
And that involves working at high mag, working with good auxiliary lighting. Sometimes you can see things. You can see, like decalcification under the marginal ridge if you've got a bright enough light and good enough mag. Sometimes, I've looked at that and been like, okay, if I close one eye and squint on the radiograph, this was pre-AI, I think maybe I can see something. But then I look down there and I'm like combining what I'm seeing here with what I'm seeing there. We're going to do a restoration on this.
Yeah, we use a lot of transillumination.
Yep. And if you don't want to spend the money for the Cavo unit, there's a nice company in your part of the world. I think it's Danbury, Connecticut, called Adent. Are you familiar?
Yeah, the Microlux.
Yeah, that little Microlux. It's inexpensive.
If you're really cheap, you go buy a bore light.
Yeah.
That people use to clean revolvers and stuff. That's the same concept.
I love the way, you know what's so funny? I actually bought a bore light just to compare.
See here? So did I.
Did you? Okay. See, this is why we get along so well. We got the same hair. We got the same, we're about the same age. But yeah, the bore light works too.
Absolutely.
But
It's
it's
the
just
concept, right?
supplementing what you see.
Right. It helps, it gives you another tool.
Time for a quick sponsor break. Back in 30 seconds. This episode is sponsored by All Practice Solutions, your trusted source for CBCTs, sensors, dental chairs, and other dental equipment. Use code POD25 for a free handheld X-ray generator with any CBCT or purchases over $5,000. Text ROD at 630-440-0600. We'd also like to thank our next sponsor, Dentist Job Connect, the premier platform that connects practice owners with top associate dentists. Make hiring and job hunting simple and effective. Visit dentistjobconnect.com and use code POD25 for $500 off the Elite Practice Package.
Mhm.
Hey, what are some other technology things that you see, or not necessarily develop, but are out there that you think starting out dentists can take advantage of?
I think good intraoral scanner is, I mean, that's the no-brainer part of it. 3D printing is, that's changing dentistry amazingly so. And one of the things that I always want people to know is that when the first time I saw 3D printing in dentistry, it was at the ADA meeting in Washington, D.C., whenever that was, 16, 14, I'm not even sure. But I was impressed with the units and what they were creating. And then when I said, okay, well, how do you create this retainer or whatever it was? And they opened these design programs that were like Photoshop. You know, they were for engineers, for people making complicated parts, and that was all there was. Now, once again, the AI thing, AI has so simplified that you can just import your scan into some of these design softwares, as you well know, because you guys are doing this all the time. It's like next, and you can tweak it if you want to. But if you saw 3D printing back when I did, and you were like, that's like flying a jet, because I think it was. Nowadays, the design programs have gotten so good and they're so smart that it's just so much easier. And the convenience, the speed, the fit, the materials, um, it's here already. It's just, it
Right.
now needs to get some traction in the industry. But yeah, tell me, I mean, like, give me your workflow, Sonny, in your office. How do you, like a denture, for instance? How are you doing it? Because I know you're doing this.
Well, it's funny. The dentures, that's one of the things that we've been printing now for a good 6 months to a year, and we're still struggling with a few steps.
Okay,
We were struggling a little bit with the software. We're now all exocad. We've got the entire exocad library of all the
good choice.
software, so we're able to do that. And our techs, because we have two CDTs and then we have two auxiliaries in our lab, and one's a little bit faster to adapting and one's a little bit faster to staying in their lane from where they learned
Right.
in school. So that transition is happening. So, doing a denture, we take an impression. I still believe a denture or soft tissue should be impressed. I don't think the digital scan can grab um, the tissue as accurately on the
Yeah, I'm
indenture,
100% in agreement with you on
right?
that.
So you do that, and then we pour up a model, and I think the lab scans the model, if I understand
Mhm.
it right. They may scan the impression now, but they definitely scan the model. And then they have that input in there, but now it's a combination of using analog and using digital. So I
Right.
still take a conventional bite registration the
Mhm.
way I learned from the doctor in Louisiana, who I forget his name, who also talked at the Yankee Dental Conference
Was it
about
Russell Schaefer
I don't
by
think that
chance?
was the name. You remember
Okay,
we talked
no big
about
deal.
this. I can't
He's
remember
in
his name.
Louisiana, the only reason I asked.
Yeah, his name's John, and
Okay,
I remember the first name, and I've looked it up before because I still have notes from it. But basically, you're using an alginate tray, rimlock tray with alginate,
right,
and you're border molding with alginate. So you take a 60 cc syringe,
right,
you put it in the upper, you seat the tray, and you are going to have an overextended border always.
right.
So it's easy to trim, it's harder to add, right? So
Oh,
you work with that.
absolutely.
And the second step now, when you make your trial base, we make it on a very thin plastic that's made, I think, through a vacuum former that's very tight
Okay.
to the air. So it's very similar to the old gutta percha trays that
Yeah.
you and I probably formulated on our denture patients in dental school.
Way,
And then,
yeah, unfortunately I did.
right? And then they get a wax rim, and I manually put the wax rim to the tray, to the trial bit.
Okay.
And I line up the midline, I mark it, I line up the lip line, the smile line, and I create where I want those teeth to be in terms of in just two dimensions, right? Then you do the same with the bottom, and then what you have, which is really cool, is you then have them speak. You check their
Hmm.
sibilants, you check their fricatives, you have them talking, and you're watching them, and you're like, okay, this is probably where the teeth should be, and then you have them just close down. So you take a mush bite, and that's what I use to set my teeth. And then when I get the teeth back, then it's done digitally. So that's where we've had a little bit of trouble between that point and the next point. Sometimes I get teeth back that are not over the ridge, they're not in position, they're smaller, they don't
Right.
follow the arch line like they should. And a lot of it is, I think, because our one tech is forgetting all his principles he learned analog, and he's
Right.
trying to just do it digitally, and he's not following the same denture laws.
Yeah.
So we've had some hiccups there. And then the other part is we had a little trouble with the printer. Now we've got two Asiga printers that we like, and we're using and we're putting the teeth into the thing, and that whole
Yeah.
thing. So we're printing the dentures as opposed to milling them, and we've been much happier with our results.
It's funny. When Mythbusters was on, I loved that show. And I
I saw
remember
my
one,
son loved it,
yeah,
loved it.
I remember one time, I don't even know what the experiment they were doing was, but Adam looked at the camera and he said, physics. It's not just a good idea, it's the law. And I mean, I thought about that when you talk about the denture because, the forces and the lateral forces and the torsional movements and the tipping of things aren't lined up just right. It's physics.
Right.
And you can't, the teeth need to go in certain positions for a reason,
No,
you know. It's like
yeah,
I
so
always tell patients, about canine guidance. It's like, the longest route in the human mouth is the maxillary canine. I always show them, like clear up here at the edge of your nose. And that's because that thing takes more leverage than anything else. And it's like a fence post. If it doesn't have enough, dirt around it, and you start pushing it back and forth, it's gonna work loose.
that's what my dental assistant just
It,
asked me today. How come the canine is the longest root in the mouth? And I was like, how much time you got? But I did try to explain a little bit of exactly what you said. A canine guided occlusion is what you're
yep.
ideal hoping for. That they
Yeah.
found it. Yeah.
That's interesting. What a crazy thing to have happen today when I'm
Today.
rattling on incessantly about dental trivia.
Just today, she came up with that question.
That's
So
funny.
so you got digital printers. What
Right.
let's reframe the question. We're gonna
Okay.
wrap up fairly soon. What would you like to see developed?
I would like to see, I'd like to, from 3D printing, I would like to see printers. I've heard of some prototypes, but printers that will actually print different colors. And it would be so cool to be able to add characterization to crowns. I think it'd be super cool to be able to print the denture base and the teeth. Maybe not together, maybe, but to print them, at the same time so that you save some steps. I would love to see that. And I would love to see, and I do think we're headed this way with AI, the ability to merge even like our photography and stuff into treatment plans. Something like one of the things I'm really big on, Sonny, is communicate with your lab. I mean, you're super lucky because you've got a
Right.
lab right there.
Spoiled. Yeah.
I'm really lucky. Not, I don't have the lab, so I'm not as lucky as you are, but the guy that I deal with is in Lee Summit, Missouri, where I practice. It's Technical Crown and Bridge. I'll give him a free plug. But he and I have been working together almost as long as we've both been in business. And sometimes if you get something weird and you're like, I wonder if I could do this, or I wonder, is this span too long to do whatever it is? And I'll call a lab and I'll be like, hey, I'm thinking of, and the great thing about a commercial lab is, I mean, Joe's told me before, he's like, you know what? I've seen that done 20 times. it's only worked once or whatever. And so it's like, why should I try something that I know is gonna fail? And I think it'd be really great, and we're gonna get there eventually, when the AI is going to propose things to you. You know, you as the doctor are going to have to make the choice because you're the one responsible, but you could do it this way. You could do it this way. You could do it this way. Here's the odds. Here's what the literature says. And be able to have all of that knowledge just taken from the data you collect. Because everything is data. A perio probe is data. You know, it gives you numbers, but the numbers don't mean anything unless you as the human interpret them. But that's how I look at all of these tools, is everything that gives you something about the patient, it's just more data. And being able to look at that and have something evaluate it and help guide you, especially if you're a younger dentist. Just out of curiosity, Sonny, I don't remember, you may have told me, did you start from scratch or did you buy
No.
an existing practice?
I went as
Okay.
an associate for 2 years with two younger docs.
Okay.
Graduated 6 years ahead of me in dental school. And then
Okay.
I bought my own
Because
practice. October 1,
I had to
1991.
figure, when was it?
10
When
1
was it?
91. October 1, 1991.
So I bought a practice that had closed, is how I started. And my start date was 10/31/89 was when but anyway, so my whole point on asking you that is just that I had to figure it all out myself.
Right.
You know, I didn't have anybody to ask. And pre-internet, pre-computer, it was hard. It was rough. But now with all the tools we've got and the access to people that you can ask that'll
Right.
answer your questions or help guide you, golly, it's a time to be doing this.
Well, think about it, right? That was Howard's vision, right? When he said he wanted to create a forum for dentists from Zimbabwe to talk to dentists in Kansas
Yep.
City. So get
Yep.
out of the I'm in a cave mentality, which is
Mm-hmm.
also where we were taken advantage of by different insurance companies would come in and be like, well, if you don't take this, the guy down the street is going to, you're going to go out of business. So you create
Yeah.
fear of missing out, that FOMO, as
Mm-hmm.
I've learned, and you're going to join something that you really don't understand because you've been told that this guy down here is going to do this.
Yeah.
Right. And you lived and practiced predominantly was solo doctors, one doctor offices.
Right. Yeah.
Numbers are shifting. That's not as common, I don't believe, in terms of the numbers of the way doctors practice, but it's still
No, not anymore.
still a number.
Mm-hmm.
And so his idea was, I guess I'd call it dental Facebook, right? It was to create a community for
Yep.
people to communicate with, and he's spot on. You know, that was.
So
So for me, what I would like to see, let me say what I would like.
yeah.
I would like to see, I'd like to see a scanner not worry about blood or liquids.
Yep.
Like I would like it to be able, through AI, whatever it takes, discern what's hard tissue, what's soft tissue. Right?
Real quick, I'll tell you, I saw an article from a company for surgery. Now, this is like general surgery, not dentistry,
Sure.
but they've got some glasses now with a special wavelength of light that can see through 1 centimeter of blood.
1 centimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shit ton of blood.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the reason I bring that up is just I think what you want is coming. I mean, that's a shit ton of blood, but in trauma surgery, but it's probably on the
Right?
horizon.
Yeah, we're looking for a couple millimeters, right? You can get through a millimeter or two, would be tremendous.
Yeah.
And I would like to see some improvement in the diagnostic criteria that we have.
Yep.
I know we're never going to get consensus. There's so many different styles of practice, so many different beliefs of what's cavity, what's not, what's active decay, what's retarded,
Right.
or excuse me, arrested decay.
Arrested decay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't see a huge difference. The only way you can prove it's arrested is you show that it hasn't continued to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you measure that in the short term?
Exactly. And if you're going to use AI and AI is going to identify things, they're going to identify a filling that you just did still has decay underneath it. That's what it's going to tell. So I think that, and then also the ability to implement that as you're working. So if you're doing a filling on a tooth that you diagnose, then being able to use those same tools and techniques as you're cleaning and fixing the tooth.
Well, and I would say too, you tripped a thought with me. I would like to see, and I don't know how you do this, but so we're using, let's go back to the radiographic thing. We're using radiographic AI. The insurance companies are using radiographic AI.
Yep.
And I can tell you from personal experience, I've trained some AI systems. I've sat down and looked at like thousands of
Well, let me tell you, I'm glad you
Okay.
said that because I had a demo and it was one of the AI companies, and I said, listen, if you come in and your AI tells me, listen, this is questionable here. Let's
Right.
just take 4DO, 5DO, 4MO, right? That
Okay.
interproximal space.
Yeah.
We think 4 is, we'll call it a E2 lesion, and 5 is a E1 lesion, blah, blah, blah. And you
Right.
go in and it's way bigger than the reading is.
Yeah.
And the tooth next to it is bigger. So they both need to be our favorite flying term, right? Upgraded. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they both need to be upgraded. Can I tell the system, listen, what you're seeing is not giving me the accurate answer. You need to start changing some of your parameters. And at that time, they said it's incapable of doing that. I said, so you don't have a living, breathing, working AI. You have a fixed AI.
Yeah. Yep.
And what you're talking about, that's up my alley then. You're able to feed the
Yeah.
AI actual real information from what you're
Yep.
seeing live and in living color to the computer.
And the other thing I'd love to see is I would like to see some type of an AI auditing service. Because if you are working for an insurance company, or if, I mean, let's just say if you are an insurance company, your whole raison d'etre is profit. And if profit is based on how much you bring in versus how much you pay out,
So
would
let's say that very simply. Minimize the amount you pay out.
yes. And so if you can tweak your AI algorithm to say, our system says that that didn't need to be upgraded or didn't need to be done.
It didn't need to be filled. That's right. Correct. That
Yeah.
should not be filled.
So what I really want to have is, like an auditing service, a third party that's not connected that will go in and say, you guys are dealing with the same thing. Level that playing field. Because
or else it's going to be abused. Or else
yeah.
that is going to be abused
Yep.
to the detriment of dentists. Because
Yes.
the next step, right? Take it to the next step. Your dentist is doing fillings that are not necessary.
Yes.
And the moment that goes into a court situation, and if that ever becomes a standard of care,
Yep.
we're all in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, you're spot on with that. And there needs to be a way, excuse me, there needs to be a way to figure that out. There needs to be a way to do that, to know we're all playing by the same rules.
Right. The playing field has to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind you looking at my stuff as long as you're looking at it like I'm looking at it.
Yeah, but
I get that.
if you're not into the tooth and you're not touching the tooth,
Yeah. If you're not even in the same state as the tooth.
I have a problem with that.
I do too.
Yeah, I think that's a slippery slope, and I wish we had stronger ADA opinions on a lot of these things.
I honestly think that's in the works. I think the ADA, we need organized dentistry. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We need a unified voice. I feel like there's changes underway right now in the organization that's going to do more along those lines. I really do.
Well, I've been a member since I was I feel like since I was born, but I've always
pretty much.
I've been involved in my local society and my district societies, etc. But we've got to tighten up a little bit and talk more about, and of course, the independent dental practice, cheap shameless plug for my practice podcast.
Yeah.
I think you have to recognize, right, the importance of the dentist, not the corporations, but the dentist.
Well, and I want to say, this is going to sound like a blatant kiss up to you, which I guess it is, even though I mean it sincerely, is owning 5 practices, running 5 practices, running your own lab. I mean, that's hard work, but the number of people that you directly impact and that you directly help by running those is astronomical. And that's a huge service, and you should be proud of yourself. Seriously, you should be proud of yourself for doing that.
Well, thank you. As you know,
Yeah.
not done in a vacuum. I got great people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great
You do
team.
have great people. You do have great people. I've
Great
met a
team,
couple
man.
of them.
Okay, brother, wrap it up. Now, what would your advice be to a dentist listening to this, a younger dentist who's not young, well, newer dentist rather than say,
Okay.
let's not go
Fair.
young or old, let's go newer dentist to the profession. Either they're working in an office or they're owning an
Mhm.
office. What are some of your pearls of wisdom? Give me two great pieces of advice that you'd like to share with them from your
Okay.
position now to their position now.
First thing is, we're all in this together. The doctor, the whole team, assistants, hygienists, if you've got rovers that run around and do a bunch of different things, your admin people, you can't do it without them. And I think sometimes, I know, at least from my perspective, when I got started, I was the king. I was in charge. I only had one employee, but I could tell her what to do. And you need to remember that take care of those people and they take care of you. I'm not above cleaning the toilets if it has to happen, but I can't see patients, process the insurance, hold the vacuum, do all those things. You need those people. So treat those people like they're valuable because they are. The other thing I would say is with tech integration, be informed, make changes. And when you make the changes, when you embrace new things, get the buy-in, go to your team. What I've always done is when I'm going to make something like a wholesale change, like let's say printing or bringing in a mill or something, I always have a staff meeting. And I tell the staff before the meeting, I'm thinking of doing X. Sit down and look at your department and see if there's things that might impact. Bring me that list to the meeting. We sit down, we red team those, and we figure out, is this actually a good idea for all of us, or is it a bad idea? And you come up with some amazing solutions in groups when you red team things. And then when you then make that jump, everybody's on board with it. Everybody wants it to work. An old story, but it's a great one. I knew a guy one time who wanted to go digital way back, like 2000 or something. And he wanted to do digital radiography, and his staff was opposed to it. So he went and he bought a sensor package and some laptops. And then he went to the office on Saturday and he threw the processor in the dumpster. And when he came back, or when they all came in on Monday, he had the laptops and the sensors, and he was like, we're all taking digital x-rays now, like it or not. And they all quit. So what did that prove? We're all in this together. Get the buy-in, treat your people the way they deserve to be treated, and treat your patients nice. You know what?
I was gonna add, the only thing I was gonna say is when you say treat your people nice, that's inclusive of the people you serve.
We
Right?
all work for the patient. I don't care if you're the CEO of Dentsply, whatever. We all work for the patient. Those are the people that pay us. And you got to do your best for them. And you always got to remember, at the end of the day, it's all about them. It really is. But you can't do it without the
I'm
team.
going to share this one story. I don't know if you know,
Yeah.
Dr. Dwayne Schmidt practiced in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. One of my
I know the name.
My mentor. He wrote a lot. He wrote extensively for dental economics. Wrote several books, a computerization of your office. Wonderful man. He was. I called him Dad too. He was like a father to me in dentistry, and just wonderful guy. And he had a story. He said to his team, he says, tomorrow, the governor of our state is coming in as a patient. What do we need to do for him as a patient for his experience?
I
And,
love
they had
this.
this, that, and then finally one person said, nothing different. And he said, that's the right answer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I was like, powerful,
Yep.
man. That was powerful.
I'm gonna leave you with with a story kind of like that. There was an instructor of mine excuse me, instructor of mine in dental school named Brett Ferguson. And Dr. Ferguson is an oral surgeon now. He was a general dentist when he was teaching me, but he ended up running the surgery department at University of Missouri, Kansas City. And he took me under his wing when I was a cocky kid. He taught me how to be a doctor. And one of the two things he told me was, number one, Flucke, we always take care of our own. And I thought that was great. And the other thing he told me was, if you prepare for an emergency, it ceases to be one. And always planning out what you're going to do ahead of time and leaving yourself a back door is critical. I think about that guy every day of my life. Every day of my life.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you very much, man. I'm so glad I got you on. It's great.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Sonny. This is awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
My pleasure, man. Honored to have you as one of my guys that I've looked up to from afar and got to know over the last few years much better. So I appreciate you, man. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you.
How do people find you?
You search Flucke, Flucke, and dentist on Google. It's pretty easy. All my socials are either first letter J with my last name Flucke or Flucke J, depending on what the platform is. I also have a blog, which is blog.dentical.com. For people that don't know what a denticle is, I got this thing for sharks. And do you ever feel shark skin? It's smooth from nose to tail, and from tail to nose, it's rough. And the reason for that is sharks have these little projections on their skin called dermal denticles. They look like teeth. And microscopically, they streamline the shark and help it move through the water faster. It's an evolutionary advantage. And so I adopted Dentical as my website and the blog and all of that stuff.
So he's a shark, folks, just so you know.
The shark is my spirit animal.
Baby. Well, you have a good day. Appreciate it. Glad you're back home.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Sonny. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. All right, take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
This episode is sponsored by DocSites, the trusted website and marketing company for dental practices. DocSites builds personalized, affordable websites with no long-term contracts. Visit DocSites.com and use code POD25 to receive a $75 Amazon gift card on booking a demo. We'd also like to thank our next sponsor, Dentist Job Connect, the premier platform that connects practice owners with top associate dentists. Make hiring and job hunting simple and effective. Visit dentistjobconnect.com and use code POD25 for $500 off the Elite Practice Package.
This has been a production of Dentistry in General Radio Network. Visit our website, dentistryingeneral.com, to join engaging clinical and business conversations, explore our dental podcasts, and stay updated on our upcoming live events.